The cheers light the beam. You'll be hearing about that throughout the year with the Sacramento Kings.
Are you ready? They want it!
Yeah.
Light the beam!
They do not know what Sacktown brings. When on the low, that's a Sacktown thing. Talking about us, it's a bounce out thing. Must they forgot we some Sacramento Kings. Whole squad going crazy, yeah, we back with it. Northern Cali going crazy, one sack winning. If you doubted us, then ain't no back spinning. This is real right here, ain't no catfishing. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9-16 now. Look towards the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now. Sack proud, make sure everyone knows. Let me tell you how this thing really goes. Yeah, we travel deep, whether we home or on the road, we lit. You don't want that smoke, we the team of the year. We shaking things over here, don't doubt, we believe over here. We don't bleed over here. And let me just speak real clear, only deal with real kings over here. So tell me what you see now. Coming down the lane off the rebound. It's 9-16 now. Look toward the sky like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam, like the beam now. You can tell them like the beam now. Tell them like the beam now. If you reppin' that Kings like the beam now.
Light the beam!
Light the beam now! Woo! Man, Calvin, dude. Oh, man, I'm shaking, bro. I'm shaking over here. I'm shaking in my boots. I got my drink. Oh, man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you smash up that like button, also known as the thumbs up, and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Calvin and I are live after every single Kings game, win or loss. But Calvin, dude, Kings win tonight, 126-125 over the Utah Jazz. Calvin, I'm shaking in my boots, bro. How are you?
I'm great, man. I can't stop smiling reading the chat as that whole intro was playing. It's just everybody's feeling good tonight, as we probably should.
Yeah, shout out to Young Zell for producing that song, Light the Beam. If you guys do not know Young Zell, check him out on Twitter. Also has his own YouTube channel. He's a big Sacramento Kings fan, and great song. So I'm going to try and pump him as much as I can. But shout out to everybody that's here in the chat. Jeff the Lefty, Charles Rodders, Fred Dixon. Hopefully you're doing better, Fred. Bryce, McCamey, Double O, Tito, Jesus, Neil, PK, Dara. What's up, Dara? Dennis, Sass, Tom, Lane. My guy Lane is here. Wow, everybody. And shout out to everybody I didn't mention. Bench Matthew, Mike, I see you guys here. But welcome in, everybody. What a game. What a game, Calvin. Oh, man, we got to see so many exciting plays. I'm trying to, recall all these amazing plays in this game, right? We had that amazing dunk by De'Aaron Fox. We had an alley-oop. What was it? Keegan posterized somebody. Sabonis threw it down in this game. What an exciting game. We got so much to talk about here. And, Calvin, I'm not drinking a beer tonight. I'm going a little stiffer.
Oh, wow.
Little stiffer tonight.
You're stepping your game up.
Yeah, I'm stepping my game up. I'm embracing my Irish heritage a little bit here. But, Calvin, let's get started, dude. First thoughts on the game tonight.
Well, I didn't expect the game to be as thrilling or intense necessarily as it was, but I did kind of predict this game to play out the way it did. A very back-and-forth game. We mentioned it before the game started a couple days ago. These are the third and fourth highest-scoring teams in the NBA. And both teams really executed well offensively tonight. The Kings shot it well from outside. They both attacked the paint absolutely ferociously with multiple poster dunks from both teams. I think you're probably going to have more than one top 10 play on SportsCenter from this game tonight, because there were that many just huge get you up out of your seat plays made in this game. And luckily, the Kings had just enough left in the tank with 2 offensive rebounds on the last possession. And Kevin Huerter, man, did he play well tonight. Iced it with the game winner.
6 threes by Kevin Huerter in a 30-piece for him. I love seeing you guys all here in the chat. Sabonis did not miss a field goal. Almost had a 30-point triple-double on a perfect shooting night. Bryce, if you do want to join us here, I want to remind everybody we are live on Twitter Spaces right now. So if you want to have your voice heard, if you want to be on the show with us live right now, all you got to do is jump into Twitter, go to Royal_Rebounds. You can jump in our Twitter space, request to come up on stage and have your voice heard. So if you want to join the conversation, check us out on Twitter Spaces. Thank you, Bouncer, for posting that there in the chat. Wow, dude, my heart is bumping, Calvin. I gotta I gotta slow down.
No need for fireworks tomorrow. We got them all tonight.
Right. Light the beam, Makami. Light the MFing beam. Hey, we might as well get this one out of the way too, Cal.
The Kings won, yeah. Oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
I don't know what it is about the Island Boys, Calvin, but it seems to be giving the Sacramento Kings good luck. So we're going to continue to play that video after every single win. And Marcus Jones here in the chat. Light the beam, Marcus. But yeah, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the new intro. That song is dope. Light the beam now. Light the beam now. So we're definitely going to keep playing that. But Calvin, dude, like I said, I got to slow down here for a little bit. I'm so excited. This game was all over the place. I thought we were going to win. I thought we were going to lose. Thought we were going to win and lose again, and then we end up winning. So it's absolutely great, dude. It is great. But, hey, let's go ahead and jump here into the box score. Kings do win tonight, 126-125 over the Utah Jazz. The Kings improve to 18-15 on the season. Domas, huge game for Domas tonight. 28 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 12 of 12 from the field, 2 of 2 from three-point range. All that in 37 minutes. Amazing, Calvin, amazing. Imagine if this guy had 2 working thumbs. He could be even better. Harrison Barnes, 10 points in 32 minutes. Rough night for him. And, on the defensive end of the floor, he's guarding one of the best players on the Utah Jazz. So that makes a lot of sense. We'll definitely talk about that. Keegan Murray, only 7 points tonight, but 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and actually an assist on that game-winning basket by Kevin Huerter. He did all that in 27 minutes. De'Aaron Fox, 39 minutes of action for him tonight. Almost played the entire game. 24 points, 3 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 of 24 from the field, 1 of 5 from three-point range. Kevin Huerter, 30 minutes, 30 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 12 of 18 from the field, 6 of 10, Calvin, 6 3-pointers for this guy tonight. And then as far as the bench goes, 5 points, 8 rebounds for Trey Lyles. KZ, 3 minutes for him. Unfortunately, doesn't get much other run after that bullshit foul, which we'll talk about. 7 points for Rashawn Holmes in 11 minutes. Good output for him. 3 of 3 from the field. Davion Mitchell, incredible defense for him tonight. 6 points, a rebound, 3 assists, 3 of 5 from the field. And my guy Malik Monk, 9 points for him tonight. 5 assists, though. 5 huge assists, and he was only on the court for 19 minutes. As far as the Utah Jazz go, 36 huge points for Lauri Markkanen. And Calvin, the surprising thing about it is that's only with 1 3-pointer made, and that 3-pointer was made with a minute left in the game. It was a go-ahead 3-pointer. So huge game for him. 17 points for Mike Conley and 25 for Jordan Clarkson. Calvin, anything else that really stood out for you in the box score?
Just big performances all around, both teams. I wish that the Kings had 5 Davion Mitchells, of various heights, because then they would have been able to shut down the Jazz a little bit more. This game just had a playoff-type atmosphere to it. When you combine the crowd. I mean, geez, I'm just so jealous being out here in Hawaii of everybody that gets to go to these games recently, because it looks like so much fun. I get goosebumps thinking about what it's going to be like in that first home playoff game next year, calendar year in Sacramento.
Yeah, for sure. And we heard how loud it was in the arena tonight after Kevin Huerter. He's hurting people's feelings tonight, Calvin, as Mark Jones said. When he hit that game-winning three, we could hear the clipping in the microphones in the arena. It was so loud. So I'm definitely jealous of anybody that was in attendance tonight. But, hey, great game to watch, great game to be at, great time to be a Sacramento Kings fan. Yeah, Brian, the refs are kind of trashy. We'll definitely be talking about that here a little bit later. But, guys, real quick, we got 50 people watching live. We got like 20 likes. So, please smash up that like button. Calvin and I are just fans like you guys. We're just having fun talking about our team, and we get paid in likes. So, please smash up that like button. It really helps us grow the channel. And again, please hit that subscribe button and go ahead and share this channel, share this video with all your favorite Kings fans. It really does help us. So thank you guys so much. Calvin, as far as the team stats go tonight, we had some pretty even numbers as far as field goal percentage, 55% for the Kings, almost 55% for the Utah Jazz. But it was the three-point line where the Kings really made a difference. 40% from three for the Kings as opposed to only 25 for the Utah Jazz. Now, Calvin, they did not make the magic number of 13 plus threes that we've circled. However, a ton of points in the paint tonight for both teams. So I think that kind of makes up for that discrepancy there. Kings won the rebounding battle only by one, though, but they did win that. 32 assists tonight, which was huge. A lot of ball movement by the Sacramento Kings. They did turn the ball over 15 times, which is quite unfortunate. A lot of those, Calvin, were late in the game when Utah was on that 11-2 run to close out the fourth quarter. But, hey, 68 points in the paint tonight for the Sacramento Kings. 70 points in the paint for the Utah Jazz. That seems like a record breaker, Calvin. I don't think I've seen that many points in the paint for both teams. This was a shootout like you predicted. But, hey, the Kings get the victory here. Anything else that really stood out to you in the team stats?
I think it's just how even these teams are. I mean, this being the first time that we got to see the Utah Jazz play Sacramento this year, these two teams are similar in a lot of ways. How they attack offensively, playing inside out. They both have guys that really shoot a lot of threes. And the Utah is actually number one in the league in defending the three in terms of makes and attempts per game. But the Kings were able, even though you said they didn't hit that 13 number mark, 12 is more than what the Jazz give up normally. So, but just seeing how both these teams are very similar in how they attack offensively. The ball moves. It doesn't stick in anyone's hand for too long. 30 assists plus for both teams tonight. They attacked the paint. Both teams were very even in the paint. This is, I think, a much more even matchup than we maybe would have expected at first, and it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of tweaks are made by both sides for the next game.
Yeah, as Calvin mentioned, we do play against the Grizzlies on Sunday, and then we head to Utah to face the Utah Jazz, so we'll definitely see some adjustments there. Calvin, you're right. These teams were pretty similar tonight, but hey, you know what they're not similar in? Record. Let's take a look here at the standings. I was mistaken earlier in the show. The Kings are not 18-15. They are 19-15. And now the fifth seed, Calvin, the hair seed is what they're in right now. Because, if they finish the season the fifth seed, that hair is out of here, Calvin. We're getting rid of that. Right. You're going to be saving money on shampoo. You're going to be faster. And you're going to love it, dude. But I'm going to enjoy buzzing that thing off, which is for sure. The Utah Jazz dropped to 19-19. They are currently now the 10th seed in the NBA. And Calvin, it seems like this Utah Jazz team has played a lot more games than any other team in the league. I could be mistaken, but they've played 4 more games than the Sacramento Kings, a game over Golden State, seems like 3 games more than Portland, a game more than Phoenix. Anything kind of stand out for that for you? Like, why do you think they've played so many more games?
I mean, it's just the way the schedule shakes out. It's always like that at this point in the year. You have teams, depending on what's going on in your franchise's city, the rodeo road trip or whatever the case may be for that particular region forces teams to go on the road and play more back-to-backs early on in the year. It's just dependent on your region, basically, I would say. Up until you get to about the All-Star break, that's when teams start to catch up and things start to even out for the home stretch.
All right, let's talk about some specific plays during this game because there were a lot of them. I'm going to try and remember them all. So if you guys remember any good plays that you want us to talk about, please drop them here in the chat. I'll try and pay as much attention to that as I can. But, Calvin, my brain is racing right now, dude. I feel like I got goosebumps. I got a little bit of the jitters, the shakes. It was an exciting game. I thought my heart was going to be ripped out, dude. I had to stuff it back into my chest and to make it here for the show. So here I am. First off, let's talk about that flagrant 1 foul on KZ Okpala. Because honestly, when I was watching that, Calvin, what did I say? I don't even know how the rules work anymore, dude. Like, the dude was going up for a layup, hits Walker Kessler and the Kesslers, and the dude is puking on the sidelines, all this. The referees decide they're going to review it. They call it a flagrant 1, which means the Jazz get, I believe, 2 shots and possession. Kessler misses the first one, makes the second one. But I thought that was an absolute garbage call, Calvin. I mean, if anybody's ever played basketball before, when you're going to get a layup or just when you're going to jump, like, you stick your knee up in front of you. That's just how you jump if you're taking off of 1 foot. What were your thoughts on that play?
Well, anybody who watches this show regularly knows that I don't really like to talk too much about the officiating. I like to focus on the game more. However, when it comes to this play in particular, even I can't be quiet about the officiating. You said it perfectly. That's how you shoot a layup. I don't understand. There are a lot of people out there. There's probably some people in this chat that know more about basketball than I do. But I know a lot about basketball. And when a rule makes me think that I don't understand the game, it's a horrible rule, in my opinion. I just don't get it whatsoever. They use the phrase hostile act. What about that is hostile? I just don't understand how if we're talking about a flagrant foul, it needs to be excessive. It needs to be unnecessary. It needs to be hostile, if that's the word that you want to use. That wasn't any of that. It's an unfortunate play. Walker Kessler obviously took the brunt of it, and he's not going to feel very good maybe tomorrow because of it. But everybody who's ever played basketball, when you start in 3rd or 4th grade, that's how you're taught to shoot a layup. You bring your leg up. It helps you get the elevation. You have to time it right with the footwork. The right hand off foot is the one you plan off of. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Sorry, Lane's cracking me up here in the chat. He says, how do they review it and still come to that conclusion? Yeah. So dumb. Yeah. I mean, Calvin, late in the game, right, where, like, when the ball goes off, it looks like it goes off of Markkanen's foot, right? And you and me are yelling at the TV like, it's off Markkanen, right? And then we see the replay, and we're like, oh, it's off Harrison Barnes. The good call. That was a great call. I did not feel that way about this play at all, right? And it was like, I get it, right? If it's in the moment, the game, everything's moving fast. But, dude, you stopped to review the play. You had plenty of time. I don't know how guys are supposed to go up for layups in the future, Calvin. Are you supposed to jump off 2 feet, keep your legs straight, whatever? I don't even want to mention how many times we fouled Jordan Clarkson shooting a 3-pointer when the dude's sticking his legs out when the defender's trying to close out on him, and we're getting called for a layup. So, I don't know, man. I think it's bullshit, Calvin. Straight up bullshit. I got a lot more four-letter words to describe that. But I'm just moving too fast here because it was an exciting game. But I hope that they figure that stuff out, Calvin, because it really is frustrating. If you're a guy like KZ, right, a guy that doesn't get much playing time, you need to make the most of every minute that you get. And I thought that was a great play for him. And it goes the opposite way. He doesn't play the rest of the game. He's out, right? And it's just so frustrating, man. I don't know if you're the coach. I don't know what to tell a guy like that. Like, just try and keep your knee down next time, or like what Calvin, if you're Mike Brown, which shout out to Mike Brown, he was back tonight. did have to wear a mask, which I don't even want to get on that rule. But, Calvin, if you're Mike Brown, what do you tell KZ on how to prevent this from happening in the future?
Well, that's the problem. I don't think you can tell him anything. You don't want to tell your players to play like stick figures with no joints and not move their body in an athletic way when they're going to the basket. I mean, I don't know what you say at that point, because he was already so far into that shooting, jumping motion before he even made contact with Walker Kessler. You can't all of a sudden, go up for a layup or a dunk and then have to readjust and look to see if the defender's coming at you and, I better straighten my legs so I don't make a collision with him. That's just not how the game's played. So I don't know what to say. It's a very unfortunate thing. And look, we're seeing a lot of this in the league right now. I know everybody's made a big point about how there's replacement officials maybe, or these guys just are focusing on the wrong types of things. The traveling, the carrying, that stuff I'm okay with, even though a lot of that stuff I think could be forgiven or let go. But it's definitely something that the NBA had create a bigger problem for them over the years, with guys being able to just kind of shuffle their feet as they catch the ball or make a drive. But to me, it's the thing that is the worst about the way the NBA game is officiated right now is how the offensive player is allowed to make contact with a defender and then put a shot up and it's a foul. You saw it over and over again tonight. It's the catch the ball down low, throw your shoulder into them, and then fade away for a shot. If that's a foul, you just cannot play defense. There's no way to actually play defense without just being a matador and letting them go right by you. So that's the biggest part for me. The hostile act is also something that I think really needs to be looked at, maybe change the terminology, because hostile does not really describe a lot of these flagrant fouls.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Just my opinion, I didn't say there was anything wrong with wearing a mask at all. I'm just saying I'm confused about the rules, right? Like, they didn't say that Mike had COVID. All they said was he was in health and safety protocols. If he's exposed, he probably still has it. And they're just like, put a mask on and head back out there. I don't know what the rules are. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a mask. If you want to wear a mask, wear an effing mask, dude. I don't care. I'm commenting on how the rules are constantly changing and nobody can even keep up with them. And kind of the same thing on the basketball court with these offensive fouls. There was a call late in this game, Calvin, that I thought was clearly a charge on Lauri Markkanen, and that was not called as well. So it's really, really hard to kind of keep up with these people and figure out what is going on. What is going on? Yeah, he did have COVID. Well,
Thanks, Lane.
I don't know what that means, dude. Like, if you have COVID, it was 2 weeks, but now you're allowed to be out there, but you wear a mask, but sometimes he has it off. I don't know what the rules are, man. It's confusing as hell. It is confusing as hell. Shout out to Lane. Thank you, Lane. Appreciate you for the super chat. Definitely going into the beer fund because we are a little light on beers. That is for sure. Calvin, we got to see Keegan Murray posterize somebody tonight in the game. It was actually an and one, dude. I didn't think we got a lot of and one calls tonight, but we got one from Keegan Murray. Was this his first poster of the season? I can't remember another posterizing dunk that he had this year.
He's been close a couple of times. He hasn't quite gotten him to go down. This is definitely the best one. By far. Would have loved if he could have made the free throw and finished off the three-point play, but that's okay next time. But I just like the fact that you can tell ever since Mike Brown talked about it, him being more aggressive, going to the rim, and trying to finish through contact, over people, stuff like that, go dunk on somebody. He's done exactly that. I mean, he hasn't always finished him, but for a guy that we talk a lot about being a timid personality and, could definitely benefit and help the team more if he was a little bit more aggressive, this is exactly what you want to see. You want to see him more comfortable. It means that the speed of the game might be slowing down for him a little bit, that he sees he can make those plays before they happen. It's a good sign, I think.
Yeah, shout out to Asha. Shout out to Ryder. Jeremy, welcome in, guys. And Nicole, shout out to Nicole. Keegan. Calvin.
Oh, sorry, Murray.
Murray. Yeah, maybe I can get my chat guys to do it since Calvin doesn't seem to want to participate in the chant with me. That's okay. Calvin knows I love the wave, dude. If it was a wave, he would definitely be involved. So early, Calvin, in this game, we saw, and this was something I wrote down because it was really pissing me off, but we saw 3 different three-point shooters from the Utah Jazz fouled, taking a shot. They all went to the free throw line. Obviously, they're getting calls, right? 2 of those, I believe, were Jordan Clarkson. I think he kicked his foot out on both of those. I can't remember the third one. Was it Markkanen?
It was Murray on Markkanen.
And he didn't. I thought that was a clean shot by Markkanen, and it was a bad defensive play by Murray. Any thoughts on those 3? Because those all happened in the first quarter. It was really, really fast. I think the Kings were excited. I think they were just trying to get after people, maybe a little overzealous there. And I'm going to say, dude, Jordan Clarkson kicks his foot out. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do think Jordan Clarkson definitely threw the leg out there a little bit. I also think that the Kings players in all 3 of those situations landed in the airspace, as they like to use the phrase. So it could have gone either way in a couple of instances there. But I think overall, this was the Kings paying attention to the scouting report and also getting a taste of what it's actually like to play Utah in real time. This being the first matchup between them this season. The Jazz are really good at moving the ball and moving players, especially in the pick and roll or off-ball screen situations. You saw the Kings have a lot of trouble tonight communicating on switches. I think that was by design because they know how well the Jazz are able to move the ball, and they've got a lot of guys that are good three-point shooters. They didn't shoot very well tonight, but that's the scouting report on them. So the point of emphasis for the Kings to close out hard and contest three-point shots, you could tell was there right from the beginning. They were just contesting a little too hard and jumping into the airspace, and it's to have 3 in one game is not good at all.
Yeah, and to start
I think it'll be better
in
a few days when they play each other again, though.
3 in 1 quarter. That's definitely something Coach is going to be talking about for sure. PK, yeah, my heart can't take it either, bro. I don't do Zanny or any stuff like that. I got to work on my breathing exercises, Calvin, because watching some of these close game situations, dude, I get stressed out, dude. This is stressful, Calvin. This is really, really stressful. I enjoy it, but it is stressful. And like I said, dude, I was like, I had jitters, dude, after this game. Luckily, we were out of beer, dude, because I would have been spilling beer all over the couch. But yeah, it feels good to get a victory. It feels really, really good. Sebastian, how are you, man? Yeah, we won. That's the most important thing for tonight. Most important thing for sure. Calvin, it looked like Trey Lyles was hobbling a little bit in this game. I thought he played well. 19 minutes, 5 points, 8 rebounds. You know how much of a fan I am of Trey Lyles. Made his only three-pointer of the night. But we saw him kind of walk, through the dude, I'm so out of it right now. I can't even remember words. But we saw him kind of like walking through the tunnel a little bit. Looked like he was hobbling. I saw one picture of him afterwards. Any thoughts on that? Did you see him like go down on anything? Was it his ankle or? It
was really hard to tell. I couldn't quite make out if he rolled an ankle or if it was one of those knee-to-knee collisions. I'm sure you're gonna see him be day-to-day on the injury report tomorrow for some either rolled ankle or contusion somewhere in the lower leg region.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on the injury report and let you guys know about that. We are going to need him on Sunday against Memphis. That's an interesting game, Calvin. It's the first day of the year. We know everyone likes to party on Saturday nights just in general, but you combine that with New Year's Eve, one of the only holidays where you're supposed to stay up till midnight, right, and drink at midnight. So Sunday's game is going to be pretty interesting. It will definitely be pretty interesting. Just my opinion says we stole Huerter. I feel the same way. Huerter has been exceptional for us. I really, really do like Kevin Huerter. Calvin, Bouncer's trying to get us back on track here. So I forgot to ask you, who's your king of the game? Who is your defensive player of the game? You got the chain on. Who are you giving it to?
The chain stays right where it is. There were only a couple of guys that really played defense in this game. One of them doesn't even play for the Kings. So I'm going to go with Davion again. just his ability to fight over screens, which, again, how I mentioned the Kings had a lot of communication breakdowns on pick and roll. So when you have a guy that doesn't have to switch or doesn't put you in a situation where you need to switch because he's able to fight through screens, so valuable. He's just, I almost watch him too much because I enjoy watching him play defense, and I can kind of lose sight of the rest of the court when he's on the floor. He's just really, really a fun player to watch for a guy that doesn't, do these highlight reel dunks and have scoring explosions of 30-plus points every night. He's a true basketball player, in my opinion, because he's able to do it on both ends. Just so fun to watch. So I'm definitely keeping the chain with Davion. Sabonis is going to be my player of the game, though. Just what the guy is doing with the broken hand, coming back. Everything he says is the right thing to say, how important this season is for the team, for the fans. He understands the value and the gravity of the moment, and he's backing it up with his play while playing hurt. You just can't say enough good things about Sabonis. He's definitely my king of the game.
Yeah, definitely. You think maybe the Pacers are having some little regrets about trading that guy because he's playing? We heard MVP chants at the game tonight, Cal.
Yeah, and he's in the MVP conversation. Even if he's kind of on the outside looking in, he's still in it, which is absolutely deservedly so. Are the Pacers having second thoughts? Maybe, but they're doing okay for themselves as well, and Tyrese has definitely been balling since they acquired him. So I think both teams, again, we talk about this trade, who wins, who loses. They're both winning right now for different reasons. The Kings are obviously happy to have Sabonis. I think the Pacers are obviously happy to have Tyrese.
Where are the Pacers right now? Okay, 19-17. So we're looking a little bit better than the Pacers. But, yeah, they're probably much, much higher in the standings than they were expecting to be at this point. Gothen, shout out to Gothen. He's here in the house. Gothen says Davion was nursing an ankle as well. So, interesting. Well, it didn't seem to affect him tonight. The dude was playing incredible defense. Calvin, Davion is so quick, man. He is so quick. I think we talked about it tonight, like how he doesn't seem to leave his feet, even when he challenges, if he's late or if he's wrong.
Except for that late foul on Mike Conley. But you're right.
He's very quick to recover, man. Very quick to recover. But what would you say?
I said, except for that late foul on Mike Conley, he was able to get him in the air. But
I knew you were going to bring that up.
You're right. You're absolutely right. He's just a tremendous defensive player. Really smart and has all of the physical attributes that you need, the quickness, the lateral movement, and the intelligence. He's got the total package when it comes to being a defensive stopper as a guard.
Calvin, what did you tell me during the game about Davion Mitchell? What'd you say to me?
What did I say to you?
I think you said something
that I think
about,
he's going to be an incredible player in a couple of years.
I think you said that. Did you promise
I did.
that? Was that a guarantee?
That's how I felt about him since they drafted him.
Was that a guarantee or a promise?
I'll put my talent evaluator guarantee on it, which is not always right, of course, but that's how I feel. I think he's going to be a really, really good player in the NBA for a long time.
Dude, you are way more right than you are wrong, dude. I mean, just looking at this year's draft, the two guys you told me, Keegan Murray, Benedict Mathurin, and look at them. They're killing it right now. So, dude, I trust you, Cal. I trust you. Shout out to Charles here in the chat. Charles has got great ankles like me. He says, my ankles can roll bad, and after a bit, I'll be all right again. Yeah, Charles, my ankles are my second best attribute. If I fall on an ankle or whatever, I'll roll it. It'll hurt for a few minutes, and then it'll be fine, dude. And I can walk it off, dude. I'm the epitome of walk it off on an ankle injury. So shout out to Charles, dude. We must be related, at least
you guys are lucky. My doctor literally told me I'm not allowed to play basketball. This was a long time ago. Not allowed to play basketball without ankle braces on because I do not have good ankles. Broke both of them, sprained them both a million times, and still didn't wear the ankle braces because I don't like them.
You can't be good at everything, Calvin. Sorry, buddy. Can't be good at everything. Unfortunately, you have to be bad at some things. That's just how the world works. All right. You want to say anything else about Sabonis? We kind of briefly touched on him. You know, amazing game. 28, 11, 8, perfect from the field. He's still dealing with the thumb injury. It's probably going to be dealing with it the entire year, right? It could be something that he maybe has to get surgery on at the end of the year. We saw him go down in this game, and he got kneed in the face. I was worried for a second. I'm like, is he grabbing his thumb? Oh, no. He's grabbing his face. Okay, good. The face is not as important as the thumb.
I think he did grab his thumb at first, but then he gets kneed in the face and realizes that might hurt even more, so then he has to grab his head.
This dude just surprises me over and over and over again. I mean, we just talked about last year, right? We were at the trade deadline. We were there in Sacramento. We saw the trade go down. We were staying at the Kimpton Sawyer. Next day, I go down in the lobby, and Sabonis is there. He's ready to go. He's ready to play. The dude just keeps impressing me. I'm so happy to have Domantas Sabonis on this team. And I think he is happy to be here. He's definitely one of the reasons, a major factor that this Kings team is much improved this year. But just another incredible performance by him. And that thumb doesn't seem to be bothering him. What did you see out of Sabonis tonight?
Well, aside from the great, individual play that he always brings, it's the toughness, it's the attitude, his demeanor. You can tell that this guy, he just cares a lot, and he really wants to win, really wants to win. And those are the types of players that the Kings have been looking for a long time. And it's incredibly rare to get one who's an all-star and has that type of attitude that, can permeate throughout the rest of the roster. It's exactly what Sacramento needed. And, you just have to give your hats off to him. Like he's battling through every game, even when he's healthy. Now he's battling even more, and he's still putting up all-star numbers. So I know everybody in the chat already does this, but make sure you vote for this dude to be in the all-star game every single day, because there probably isn't everybody who's going to be in the all-star game deserves it, but this guy, he really deserves it out here in Sacramento. So make sure you vote for them.
100%. Don't forget to vote for the All-Star. You can do it every single day. Vote for all the Kings players. Also, pregame, we heard an interview with Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter said if he gets the nod for the three-point competition, he'll be there. So we could have a lot of representation at the All-Star game. That would be really exciting. Shout out to Neil here for joining us here in the chat. He said they should call it the Davion chain. Interesting. I'm
like
not disagreeing with that. Rodgers says Sabonis' attitude is so underrated. What a professional. I think that just, basically highlights what you were saying, Calvin. The dude can do everything. He also has it mentally as well, which I think is one of the hardest packages to find in the NBA, is the mental fortitude combined with the skill. The dude can do everything on the court. Calvin, I was saying today, like, how many big men in the league can take their man from the three-point line to the basket and dunk or get a layup? The dude keeps doing it over and over and over again. Plus, he can pass the ball. I think he's played great defense. He's leading the league in rebounds. He had 31 the last game, another 28 tonight. Like, there's nothing this dude cannot do on the basketball court. He's a great leader. We see him off the court and on the sidelines cheering on his teammates. Even when he can't play, he's still cheering. He's still there. He's involved. He's engaged. Like, I could go on and on about Domantas Sabonis. He is just a great player, and I'm so happy to have him here on the team. Nicole says, Mitchell reminds me of Marcus Smart. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. I've been saying that for a while. I have been. I skipped past somebody here in the chat. I can't remember who said it. I apologize. Somebody asked when we are going to get together and all go to a game. Hopefully very soon. Calvin and I are going to try and make it out there in the next couple months. If you haven't been paying attention to the news, there's been a lot of weird stuff here going on in Hawaii. We've had some shark attacks. Like I said, we've had planes go down, a lot of turbulence. Calvin, I don't think my mom would be very comfortable with me flying this week or next week due to all that stuff. So I got to let things calm down for a little bit. Maybe in a month or 2 months, we'll definitely make a trip out there and meet you guys all for the game. It would be so much fun. Maybe we can go to Coin Op afterwards, have a Royal Rebounds party, something like that. Jose, what's up, man? Good to see you. Just My Opinion says Sabonis' defense is not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad at all. All right, my boss says here, Barry, tell Calvin to talk about Fox. So, Calvin, let's switch topics here since my producer says we need to talk about De'Aaron Fox. 24 points tonight, 10 assists, 10 of 24 from the field, 1 of 5 from three-point range. I was a little critical of Fox tonight on the defensive end of the floor. I think that Davion was doing Fox's job. But what did you think about De'Aaron Fox's performance tonight?
I thought it was solid overall. I mean, he did not shoot the ball very well, especially in the first half. But as we've seen with De'Aaron, as in a tight game, as the game goes along or gets deeper into the game, he seems to get stronger. And he definitely did that again. He didn't hit the clutch field goals at the very end like we've come to expect from him this season. But keep in mind, he was the guy that tipped the ball following his own shot when he missed that floater that allowed Harrison Barnes to get the offensive rebound, the second offensive rebound on that possession, and kick it out eventually to Kevin Huerter, who hits the game-winning three. So the effort was definitely there. I mean, that play where he is tiptoeing along the baseline and crosses up Kelly Olynyk was great. And, of course, the dunk, the and-one dunk on Lauri Markkanen, we're going to see that over and over and over again, both on the Kings broadcast and on the national replay scale for a long time, I think. So he brought it tonight. You could tell that the Kings really wanted to win this game. And I think De'Aaron Fox, he's been really vocal this season. Sometimes I think too vocal, picking up quick technical fouls. But, you know, we talk about Sabonis and how, you know, determined he is out there on the floor. And his leadership really shows as well. I think both of these guys are doing it in different ways, as they should, because they have different roles on the team, but they're both the driving force behind it. So Fox was really good tonight. The double-digit assist numbers lately have been fantastic, right? That's the thing for me. He's always been a capable scorer, and like he says, he can get any shot he wants. But the fact that he's also getting everybody else involved, when Sabonis is the guy that initiates the offense most of the time, you still have your scoring point guard ends up with 10-plus assists at the end of the night. That's really a good thing for Sacramento.
Yeah, and not only 10 assists, only one turnover. Only one turnover tonight for De'Aaron Fox. He was definitely dishing it. He was a pass-first point guard tonight until late in the game when he needed to make stuff happen. So I was a little critical of him on the defensive end of the floor tonight, but I think he was his normal self on the offensive end. I thought he had a good overall game. One thing I do have to knock against Sabonis tonight, 7 turnovers for him tonight, Calvin. There was only 2 other players on the team that had 2 turnovers, Monk and Mitchell. Nobody else had more than 1. So 7 turnovers for Domantas Sabonis is a lot, but he did have 8 assists. So I'll definitely give him that. Jim says Sabonis' best attribute is his balls of steel. Definitely a good attribute. We definitely know that Walker Kessler does not have that attribute. So maybe
he does. He stayed in the game. He kept playing.
Yeah, he just had you can rally.
The one thing I'll say, about the Sabonis turnovers, yes, 7 is a lot. But this is something that I also think is going to be corrected when the Kings go to Utah in just a few days to play them again, because the Jazz are really aggressive playing the passing lanes. And that's something that the Kings, I don't think they've gotten that night in and night out necessarily the way that Utah played them today. And they definitely had the Kings pegged right on the scouting report too. They were jumping the dribble handoffs, and they were jumping the second pass after that, taking away those options. They stole at least 2 that I can remember inbounds passes. That's something you don't see happen very often. So I think that the Kings will be much better in Utah.
Yeah, I agree. I love Edward here in the chat. He has a broken hand. Yes, Edward, we know he's got a messed up thumb. This is a hard thing to do sometimes. You have to be critical sometimes of guys that had an amazing game, right? Like, don't get me wrong, Sabonis, amazing performance tonight. I'm just saying that's the only little thing I could look at where I would say, like, okay, this is what you need to improve on. Because honestly, that's what a good team does, is even when you win games, you still look at things and you say, how can I be better? How can I get better? Because every other team is going to do that. The Utah Jazz are going to look at this game. They're going to say, how can we beat the Kings next time we play? The Kings need to be doing the same exact thing. They need to say, how can we improve? Yes, we got a victory tonight, but that's tonight. We got to play this team multiple other times this season. How can we continue to win against them? So definitely not a knock against him. Shout out to Christian here. Christian wants to talk a little bit about Richaun Holmes. We did see Richaun Holmes play tonight, Calvin. 11 minutes for him, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 3 personal fouls, but he was 3 of 3 from the field. I like what I saw to Richaun tonight. I thought he did a great job in the limited action. This, in my opinion, is what the Kings need to be using Richaun. I think this is the correct way to use him. Metu didn't play, Len didn't play, Keita didn't play. We've seen multiple different times this season where Mike Brown has kind of gone with a different big as the backup or the second or third guy off the bench to fill in. Lately, it's been Richaun Holmes. I think he had a great performance tonight in limited action. 7 points, 11 minutes. Can it get much better than that, Cal?
No, definitely not. And Mike Brown has said this over and over again. They're just looking for somebody to come in and give them a few solid minutes at the backup center position, because they've got the stallion or the main horse obviously holding it down for most of the game. They just need somebody who's going to be able to basically expel him or help him out if he gets in foul trouble. And to me, it's all about the style in which they use Richaun or whoever that backup center is going to be. Early on in the year, they wanted to keep the same sort of offensive style and play even when the second unit came in, and that's why you saw Metu play a lot at that position. Not that Metu is the same as Sabonis or as good as Sabonis, but Richaun Holmes is not going to play like that. However, if they do use him the right way, then I think it's perfectly fine to have Richaun come off the bench or even Alex Len. I would rather have it be Holmes. But to me, it's all about the way that they're used. And I think that Davion's another underlined or not talked about part of this is Davion Mitchell's progression as a true point guard, right? Because now you can actually have him controlling the offense, controlling the ball. We've seen his assist numbers go up a lot lately as well. And that means that Richaun can play on the floor with them because you don't have to have the center initiate the offense.
Yeah, great point. And that's probably going to help Sabonis too on the turnover end as well, as having another guard that can come in there and help distribute the ball. Tito says Malik in the dunk contest would be fire. I agree with that. I would love to see him in the dunk contest. Dude, that alley-oop tonight was dope. That was awesome, dude. I'm going to be watching SportsCenter after this stream, Calvin. I think that Fox dunk has got to be number 1 on top 10. But, hey, we could see a couple Kings in the top 10 place tonight. So that is exciting. That is definitely exciting. Shout out to Ivan here for joining in. Good to see you, Ivan. And Patrick. Welcome in, Patrick. Good to see you guys. Christian, yeah, coin op. We definitely want to go check out the coin op. Our buddy is the manager there. And, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Christian, I do not have cornrows, as you can see.
Oh, man, that's funny. Oh, yeah, you're letting the hair down, Calvin. Wow, we haven't even reached 50 likes yet. You're letting the hair out?
Well, if I'm going to cut it off in a few months, I better let it down.
You got to enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can, that's for sure. Holmes' mama said, what a fun game tonight. Yeah, I think everybody in the building tonight said, what a fun game. The only guy I saw on the bench
if you don't like that
didn't really look happy was maybe Metu. And I'm sure he was happy for the win. It was probably just a small moment I saw him where he was maybe thinking of something or whatever. But Metu, we haven't seen him in a couple games, Calvin. This guy was an integral piece of the Sacramento Kings in the first, part of the season. Why do you think Metu has been playing recently?
Well, I think it's because Mike Brown has been saying pretty much ever since the season starts that he's just searching for somebody to fill that role in the right way. And they've played a lot of bigger teams lately, so they've had to go with more size inside, and they're looking for somebody to own it and lock that position down. And so far, nobody really has. Hopefully, Richaun will do that, or maybe we see Monty make a move and they bring somebody else in. But I think really when you look across the board at the second unit, outside of Davion and Malik Monk, everybody else has been in and out of the lineup because they've been up and down. They're good at certain things. They're used for specific matchups. So from the forward position on down to the center on the second unit, it's really been a guessing game and a revolving door for a couple of years in Sacramento. And that's, to me, I think what you're seeing now. Mike Brown is just hoping that somebody comes in and locks that position down.
Yeah, shout out to Laban here for just joining in. Good to see you. Pika House is in the house tonight. Pika says, Domantas Sabonis becomes just the third player in regular season NBA history with multiple games of 12-plus field goal attempts without a miss. Wilt did it 6 times. Karl Malone did it twice. So definitely great for him. Calvin, dude, I was contemplating whether I would let you do this on the show tonight, but I know you've been dying to do it. A lot of people are going to hate us here in the chat, but we had another record-breaking performance this week. Break it down, Calvin. Break it down.
We'll make it quick because I know Kings fans don't like to talk about Luka Doncic, but, man, you can't not talk about this guy right now. 2 nights in a row, triple-doubles. One's a 60-point with a 20-rebound and 10 assists. That's the first time that's ever been done in NBA history. And then his totals for the 2 games combined, also first time it's ever been done in NBA history. And look out, because the Mavs are hot right now. They moved all the way up to, I think it's the 4 seed, because they've been on a winning streak lately. So Ethan is right. If that guy stays healthy, he's going to break a lot of records in the NBA.
Calvin, they're still the 6th seed. They're still below us, so it's okay. It's okay. They're still below us on the standings. And yeah, shout out to Ethan here in the chat. Ethan, I didn't even check your text message, but I have a feeling it's probably knocking Deer and Fox, so I'm probably just going to delete that and not even respond. Tito says, wait till Davion's offense explodes. We know he can go off. So excited for the future. I agree. I could not agree more. This dude is going to be a great NBA player. That is for sure. Calvin, I want to briefly touch on Barnes and Murray. Not great performances for them tonight. However, they did have some tough covers, taking on Lauri Markkanen, a dude that is extremely tall, extremely talented, and can shoot really well. Although he only made 1 3 tonight, maybe you credit Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray for that. But 10 points for Barnes, 7 points for Keegan Murray. Murray shot well, 60% from the field, made his only 3-pointer. Barnes, 30% from the field and 25 from 3-point range. What did you see out of both of those guys tonight? What did you like? What did you dislike?
I mean, I liked that they play the same way every time, whether they're playing really well, shooting really well, or not. They always show up. They also are up and down in terms of the number of minutes they get, especially Murray. Because they've got a bunch of guys. KZ is now playing more. That's going to take minutes away from one of the 2 of them. So I just like that they have the same type of attitude and demeanor towards every game, and they're willing to do whatever's asked of them. I mean, Barnes guards guys that are 6 inches taller than him one game. Then he guards people that play predominantly on the wing, smaller guards the next game. Big-time rebounder. They're just consummate professionals, even though Murray's only been a professional for a heartbeat, but they really do approach the game that way. You'd like to see maybe Murray be a little bit more aggressive, I guess, but in the last 2 games, you've had Malik Monk, who went off for 33 one night, and Kevin Huerter go off for 30 the other night. Those guys took up a lot of the 3-point shots maybe that Murray would get, and the ball probably found its way to that side of the court more than Murray's, because he's not the guy that's going to demand the shots, especially if somebody else is going off. So I don't think that you get too down on either one of these guys for having subpar offensive performances. Barnes had a tough matchup all night. We've talked about it before. When he has to guard bigger guys that play inside, it takes a lot of energy away from him, which limits his effectiveness, being able to drive to the rim. And if somebody else is going to get it going from 3, that'll probably take shots away from Murray as well. So as long as there's one guy who's able to step up every night and play alongside Fox and Sabonis in terms of offensive production, the Kings are going to have a chance to win almost every time.
The Kings won, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. The Sacramento Kings, oh, yeah, the Kings won, yeah. Fox is so fast. Sabonis is so strong, yeah. Coach Mike is so smart, yeah. They are the playoff bound, yeah.
What's up, Lydia? That was for you. Island Boys, I know you like them, so hey, I might as well throw those in there for you guys. Dude, Island Boys, Calvin, what's the deal? I forgot. How many likes do we need to do an Island Boys remix?
250.
250. Wow, that's bold. That's bold, Calvin. That is really, really bold. So, hey, you guys better invite all your friends in here. Let them know. Well, we'll be happy to do something like that. And Lydia, we had a special intro today on today's video. So after this video is over, you might want to watch the intro again because it was a pretty good one. It was definitely a pretty good one. Tito says you guys should do a live with the Island Boys. Tito, I don't know if I could stand them that long, but we could try. Well, we could definitely try. We'll reach out to them and see what they say. All right, Calvin, let's talk about the man of the night. I mean, it's so tough, right? Like, Domantas Sabonis, amazing performance, 28, 11, 8, didn't miss a single shot. But, Calvin, the man of the night, Kevin Huerter, hits the game-winning 3 off of 2 missed shots, offensive rebounds. He's lighting it up. He seems to be back, Calvin. His hair was turning red. He was so hot tonight, dude. 6 of 10 from three-point range. Kevin motherfucking Huerter was hurting people's feelings tonight. Tell me about Kevin Huerter. Also, shout out to Key Kings and Jeff the Lefty.
Well, when the game started, I was kind of worried about Kevin Huerter, honestly, because he was drawing Jordan Clarkson on defense, and that is a matchup that is not in favor of Sacramento. And Jordan Clarkson took full advantage of it early and often, really got pretty much any shot he wanted and was able to knock him down. But the way you can counter that is if you knock down your shots on the offensive end of the floor. And I think Katie made a really good point early on. His shot just looked much better tonight. I mean, not that it ever looked bad in the past, but you can kind of just tell when a ball comes out of a guy's hands how he is feeling about his jump shot. And he felt very comfortable, very confident early on in this game. The shot looked pure right out of the hand. He was able to hit the first couple. And I liked how he stayed in an attacking mode. It wasn't just, sometimes when a guy is a really good three-point shooter, they'll just settle for three-point shots because they think, I'm on fire right now, everything is going to go in. Huerter didn't do that. He took the dribble in to take the mid-range shot when the guys were jumping the screen and trying to take the three away from him. He's really good on the offensive glass, too. He's always in the mix, getting a hand on the ball. For a guy that's labeled as just a shooter, those are extra things that really, really help benefit the team in terms of offensive production, second chance points, all of that stuff. So he was really good all around offensively, I thought, today.
Yeah, Red Velvet Revolver. I like it, dude. The dude was playing great. And Calvin, honestly, every time he took a three-pointer, I'm like, it's good. It's good. It just looked so good. He looked like he was in a great rhythm. Like I said, I watched an interview with him for pregame, and he was talking about how he started off really, really hot to the season. He said he got a little loose, and he started getting a little casual with his shots, and he was really, really upset about that. So he kind of got back to the basics, tried to figure out how to get back to where he was. And hey, it seems to be paying off here, Calvin, because he is shooting much, much better. We've seen a few different Kings players go in and out of slumps this season. It seems like Kevin Huerter is definitely on his way out. I mean, back-to-back games, Malik Monk with 33, Kevin Huerter with 30, both wins. When you're getting that kind of production out of your shooting guard or your backup shooting guard, it's always good for the Sacramento Kings. So that is definitely huge. That is for sure. Edward says Kevin had a hitch maybe in his shot, so maybe he got that worked out. So that is definitely good. I saw somebody here in the chat earlier. I apologize. I don't remember who said it. Said, this Kings team needs more, right? And if you were to name one player, maybe not a player by name, but like a type of player that complements this team best, as kind of a trade target or someone to bring in? Like, what would that prototypical player look like to you, Calvin?
I mean, I think it would be a two-way player that's a really good outside shooter. To me, that when you have guys like De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis who are going to be able to both score the ball themselves and, initiate for others, what you need to surround them with are wings that are long, athletic, able to guard multiple positions, switch seamlessly, and really good outside shooters that help stretch the floor to keep the lane open for Sabonis to operate with the ball at the free throw line and for Fox to attack the rim. That's what the team needs right there. And, yeah, you can throw in rim protection and all that other stuff, but offensively, that's the best type of player that you could have.
Yeah, I agree. Alfie Man, shout out to Alfie Man's here. Alfie Man's about to go into health and safety protocols because Alfie Man's got a fever.
I'm telling you, fellas, you're gonna want that cowbell. Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Calvin, can we get some more cowbell?
Got to give the people what they want. Is that loud enough?
Oh, that's good, dude.
It's loud enough for me, that's for sure.
I got my cowbell over here, too. Oh, you're not so special now, are you, Calvin? I got a cowbell, too.
No, but you don't have a cowbell.
I do not have a cowbell. I do not have a cowbell. That is for sure. Anybody else you want to highlight in the game? We went over all the starters. We talked a little bit about the bench tonight. Anybody else that you want to highlight tonight for the Sacramento Kings? And then I want to talk briefly about the Jazz before we jump into all the news around the NBA, talk a little bit about the Kings, and then we'll talk about the next game.
I think we've given everybody their credit that deserves it. A player that we're not talking about at all right now, which to me is really confusing, is Terence Davis. I really don't understand what happened with Terence Davis. I know he's been not very consistent at times, both offensively and defensively, but he has given them a lot of spark off the bench, not just this year, but last year. I'm really surprised that he has not played a single minute in the last couple of games. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I can understand maybe giving KZ more minutes because you want that long, bigger defender that can guard multiple positions to play more. But Terence Davis has done a really good job defensively a lot of times this season also. It just doesn't it's surprising to me that he all of a sudden isn't playing at all.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised as well. I know earlier on in the month, I believe it was like December 10th or 11th, he aggravated or re-aggravated the back injury, which I think caused him to be benched initially. I don't know where he is on his rehab as far as that goes. Maybe he's completely done. Maybe he doesn't have any pain, but maybe he's not back in conditioning shape. Maybe he's not ready to be back on the court. Maybe Mike Brown is still waiting for something else to happen because he's been having guys that have been playing so well, right? You had Monk put up 33 the other night. You had, some of these other guards playing extremely well.
Terence Davis has a 30-point game this season too.
He does, but not coming back off a back injury. He has not played since the back injury.
I get it if he's not healthy. That's just the question. I want to know, is he not healthy or is he not playing because of other reasons? Because, yes, I get it. You're not going to play him over Malik Monk when Malik Monk is scoring 30 points a game. But Malik hasn't had those types of games every night. Neither has Kevin Huerter. Neither has Trey Lyles. There's a lot of these guys that they're all good. And I get it. There's not enough minutes to go around for everyone. But for him to go from one of the main players in this rotation to 0 minutes whatsoever, it's just puzzling to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Terence Davis. I like what he brought. I like what he brought with the Kings. He brought energy. He brought enthusiasm. He could make shots at times, play great defense at times. I loved how he jumped the passing lanes. I thought he was great at starting the fast break. So, yeah, it is interesting. We'll have to figure out what's going on with Terence Davis. Hopefully we see him back sooner rather than later. That is for sure. All right, last question for you, Calvin. I just want to know, this is real quick about the Jazz. You know, a lot of people thought that this team was going to be tanking this year, right? They traded Gobert. They traded Mitchell. You know, I was one of these people thinking that this was going to be one of the worst teams in the Western Conference. They were trying to get Victor Wembanyama. Calvin, they started out really, really hot. They were in first place of the Western Conference, which was completely surprising. And we were like, well, it's early. It's only been a few games. Like, this team is not going to be this good. Calvin, they're almost 40 games into the season at 19-19 now. So my question for you is this Jazz team legit? I mean, I think they just took a good Kings team down to the wire. On Wednesday, they just took a good Golden State team. And, I mean, that's debatable whether you say the Warriors are good or not. But the Warriors have the best home record in the NBA. They took them down to the wire. Do you think this Jazz team is legit? Are they going to blow it up here, or is this something to build off of for them?
It depends on how you define legit. They're legit on offense, though. They really are. I mean, Lauri Markkanen, playing the best ball of his career, has definitely found himself the right situation to really take his game to another level. When you combine that with the type of instant offense players that they have, Jordan Clarkson, Malik Beasley, Walker Kessler has been really good for them off the bench. Mike Conley, we talk a lot with the Kings about, you know, do they need a true point guard, that sort of a thing. Mike Conley is definitely a true point guard, and the players that they've got around him fit very well for him. A guy that's going to always make the right read, really good court vision, and they've got a bunch of really good shooters and scorers on this team, and they move the ball a lot, as we saw tonight. They're not a very good team defensively, and I think over the course of the season, they've got a chance for the playoffs. Maybe play-in is going to be the route that they have to go. I think the fact that they're still in the race and competitive this far into the season tells me that they're going to be there down the stretch. It's just a question of, are they able to sneak in through the play-in tournament or not? But offensively, this team is legit, and I think that if you're looking at it from the Jazz perspective about building for the future, you've got a lot more questions now that you need to answer than you did before the season, because before the season started, it was just, okay, we're just going to roll these guys out. We've got the draft picks. If we lose games, we lose games, and we might end up with the number one pick overall. Now they have to wonder, do they try to keep some of the players that they've got right now and add through the draft? Because Markkanen has really played that well that they should probably consider it, I think.
Shout out to Ethan for showing up in the chat on his original account, not on his burner account. So shout out to Ethan for trolling everybody on his original account. Ethan, Fox is one of the most, if not the most efficient player in the fourth quarter. So you might want to double check some of your stats there. Calvin, last question. I know I said the last one was the last question, but this is the last question. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game, you know, you're like, okay, last time.
There's always going to be another question.
And you lose. So then you're like, okay, last one again. But my question for you, and I know a lot of Kings fans probably are feeling this question too, Calvin, is there... Ivan, that was great. Anyways, Calvin, Ethan, you should change your name to Ethan Short Bus.
Ethan Short Bus.
Anyways, Calvin, is there any player on this Jazz team that you think the Kings should target in a potential trade? Anybody that you think would help this Kings team and actually makes sense trade-wise?
Yeah, I think Markkanen is the easy, obvious answer, right? At this point, his stock has been rising for a while now. I don't know what it would take to get him. I did see somebody, I forget who it was, early on in the chat say, we found our backup center, let's trade for Markkanen. I'm going to tell you right now, if you end up trading for Markkanen, he's not playing center and he's not coming off the bench. So that would be an upgrade for sure. You don't want to put that guy behind Domantas Sabonis and have him only play 19 minutes a game. That would be terrible. But he would be a good fit on the team. I think a stretch three, a guy that's a matchup nightmare because he plays on the perimeter, can handle the ball. I've seen him with more highlight dunks this season than any other year in his career, so he definitely puts a lot of pressure on the defense. I like Colin Sexton a lot, too. I always have. Again, two-way players, I always tend to kind of, side with the energy that he plays with defensively, and he's certainly a capable scorer as well. We've seen it's in his time in Cleveland. I think he's still working his way back from the ACL, but I would probably start there. And then you talked about Walker Kessler during the game. Maybe he's a backup center option. He's an interesting young player, a guy that averaged, 6 blocks or 5 blocks a game at Auburn last season. So there's your rim protection and rebounding right there. He seems to run the floor really well and be a good lob threat too.
Man, Ivan's such a G, dude. Just puts that little comment out there, just drops the mic. It doesn't say anything else. Ivan, dude, you're a G. Ivan's a straight up G. What's up, Sean? Good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. If you missed the intro of this show, after it's over, you're going to want to rewatch it. I thought it was a great, great intro. Calvin, yeah, I think Walker Kessler could potentially, have an impact on this team. Whether the Jazz are willing to trade him, I don't know. I mean, I like marketing. Clarkson could help some scoring, but then again, you have Mitchell, you have Monk, and honestly, Calvin, what did I say during the game today? I'm like, if I'm trading with anybody, there's one GM in the league that I'm probably not going to make a trade with, because he's going to fleece you. He's going to fleece you, dude. And who is that, Calvin?
Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge. I bet the Minnesota Timberwolves are not happy about that trade right now. They're looking at the Utah Jazz. They're looking up at the Utah Jazz right now, right? They're at 16-20. They're looking up at the Utah Jazz, and they're like, why did we trade all those first-round picks and players for a guy that's supposed to help us? So, definitely be careful making a deal with the Utah Jazz. That is for sure. Okay, Calvin, let's talk a little bit. We're going to talk about the next game against the Memphis Grizzlies. But before we do that, I think there's a couple things to kind of mention here. First off, if you guys had not seen it, there was a brawl this week, Magic versus the Pistons. They announced a bunch of suspensions today, Calvin. I thought they were absolutely ridiculous. You want to kind of break it down?
Well, I'm sure most people have seen it at this point, but the Malice at the Palace 2.0, or the JV Malice at the Palace, occurred the other night. Mo Wagner is going towards the Pistons bench. I think he and Killian Hayes had just kind of gotten into it a little bit on the court. He kind of shoves Killian Hayes away and then falls into the Detroit Pistons bench, gets caressed and corralled by a bunch of players. Killian Hayes comes behind him and elbows him in the back of the head. It actually knocked Mo Wagner out momentarily. After that, it gets a little hazy. Both the teams kind of, corral each other in the center. Coaches are pushing people away, and they handed out a ton of suspensions. A lot of them very light suspensions, though. Yeah.
Goth, have a great night, man. Thanks for joining in. Dude, I just got to give a shout-out to
punched him with his elbow. He didn't hit him with a closed fist.
Yeah. I got to give a shout-out to Bland
I might need to watch
here
it again, but it didn't
Twitter
look
Spaces.
like a clean punch to me.
On his Twitter profile, he's got Kings fan, Sacramento proud, 2-time NBA chips, 51-02 with an asterisk next to it. I love it, dude. That is awesome. That's great. That's great. But yeah, I mean, the fight was absolutely ridiculous. In my opinion, Killian Hayes should be suspended for 10, 15 plus games. I mean, you punch somebody in the back of the head, you knock them out. That was totally uncalled for. And dude, just ridiculous, Calvin. Ridiculous. I don't even know, dude, if you were to ask me now, if anything happens, whether it's a technical foul, whether it's an intentional foul, whether it's a suspension, I'm all over the place, dude. I can't answer any of these things because I disagree with every single thing that seems to happen. It was ridiculous, but hopefully they can get it figured out. I know the Magic have a ton of guys that are suspended for one game. So many people suspended for leaving the bench that they have to alternate the suspension so that the team can still make a roster to play some of these games. So it really is is weird. And yeah, it is weird, Calvin, that happened in Detroit. What did the announcer say over the loudspeaker?
Yeah, that was the wildest part of the whole thing. They made an announcement right after the benches kind of cleared saying, everyone stay in your seat. If you leave your seat, you will be arrested. They definitely still feel the aftershock or effects of the original Malice at the Palace, and nobody wanted to see any of that again. But you're totally right, Barry. I just don't see how you can get a 3-game suspension for knocking a defenseless person out who's not even looking at you, knocking them out cold in front of plain sight. Like whether you know you can say it was a punch with the fist or an elbow or whatever the case may be, he still knocked him out. So I just don't understand how that's only a 3-game suspension.
And the dude that got knocked out, Mo Wagner, got a 2-game suspension. That was ridiculous. Yeah. I think he should have been ejected out of the game for that shove. I thought that was, uncalled for. But 2-game suspension for getting knocked out and sleeping on the coaching staff of the Pistons, I thought that was uncalled for sure. In other news, the Atlanta Hawks are crashing and burning. Nate McMillan, the head coach, is contemplating whether he should step down or not. A lot of people were really high on the Hawks, and myself included, some of their offseason acquisitions that they made, including trading for DeJounte Murray. This team seems to be falling apart, Calvin. What do you think happens with the Hawks? What do you think happens with McMillan? Do they blow it up? What happens here, and how can the Kings take advantage?
Well, the Kings have already taken advantage once, stealing Kevin Huerter away. I don't know if you're going to be lucky to steal somebody like John Collins away in the same fashion by not giving up, a ton to get him. This seems like it's been brewing for a while now in Atlanta. You've heard over the past couple of seasons, a lot of players are unhappy with their roles on the team, like John Collins. They go out and they add DeJounte Murray. That kind of quieted things down a little bit momentarily. But then, of course, you have this huge deal with Trae Young not showing up to a game because of a disagreement with Nate McMillan. I don't think McMillan is going to finish the season, whether he voluntarily steps down or they let him go. I don't see the Atlanta Hawks making up enough ground in the standings in a really good top-heavy Eastern Conference for them to justify keeping him around. It's especially if they're worried about Trae Young jumping ship because he's, having disagreements with the coach. So they're not in a good spot right now for how much talent they have on that team and how much promise they showed just, a season and a half ago, making that big second half run and going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. You had to think that this was a team on the rise. They have definitely regressed while adding more talent to the team. So they've got big problems in Atlanta.
Yeah, huge problems. And I'm a big fan of Nate McMillan. I really liked him a lot in Portland. I think he's a great head coach. But yeah, dealing with a lot of young talent. We've seen it over and over again happen in the NBA. What a headache. Are you still interested in John Collins or anybody else on that team? I know we got Kevin Huerter. That was an absolute steal, and he's probably stoked to be here in Sacramento. But anybody else on that team that you think the Kings should try? I mean, I like Capella. I think Capella could satisfy the rim protector role on this team. I mean, Bogdanovic could maybe come back and help the Kings. Anybody that you try and target on that team?
The guy that I want is DeAndre Hunter. Again, talking about what fits the Kings team the best, a two-way wing with a lot of length, good defender, promise and upside offensively. He just started shooting the ball a lot better over the past few months, going into the end of last season. DeAndre Hunter is the guy that I would covet on that team for sure above anybody else.
All right, DeAndre Hunter, you heard it, Monty. Go out there and get him. Go out there and get him. In other news, happy birthday, LeBron James. And what a birthday it was. He scored 47 points tonight on his way to almost triple-double, 47, 10, and 9 on his birthday for a Lakers victory. Shout out to LeBron. Happy birthday. And boo Lakers. Boo Lakers. But LeBron's getting closer and closer to that top spot on the scoring list, Calvin. So definitely keep an eye on that. Okay, let's talk about this Kings nationally televised game The Kings lose a nationally televised game, and the Thunder gain one. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, I forget the date exactly. It's in mid-January, I want to say, but the Kings were scheduled to play the Houston Rockets and have that game air on ESPN. They have taken that game away, the nationally televised portion of it, and moved it to Suns Nuggets, which has recently become kind of a hot rivalry. It hurts if you're a Kings fan. This team is much better than they've been in a long time. They deserve to be showcased on the national stage. Unfortunately, Houston can't quite hold up its end of the bargain, I guess. If you're looking at it just from a basketball perspective, Suns-Nuggets is the better game, but it's unfortunate for Sacramento, who doesn't get a lot of opportunities to play on national TV, and they're going to not get this opportunity either.
It's a bunch of bullshit, Calvin. I mean, every single day we see games on ESPN that's got one good team and one bad team, and we see other games that could be flexed in, could be flexed out. I think it's a little premature. I believe that game was on Wednesday, January 11th, or Friday, January 13th. Those are the two games against the Houston Rockets in January. So really, really unfortunate. Sucks for the Kings fans out there. But, hey, it's okay, Calvin. We'll still get to watch the game. We'll still be here on YouTube. Nobody cares about ESPN anyways, unless I'm watching top 10 plays like tonight, where I know De'Aaron Fox is probably going to be number one. But, yeah, really, really unfortunate, Calvin. We just can't get any respect, man. Can't get any respect. Okay.
If they make the playoffs, they'll get a lot more nationally televised games next season.
Yep. And then last thing to remind you all, please go ahead and vote for your Sacramento Kings All-Stars. You can vote every single day, I believe, until January 27th or so. So please, 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 it's pinned at the top of our Twitter page if you don't have the link. But, yeah, vote every single day for all your favorite Kings starters to make it for the All-Star team. They really, really need your help. Okay, Calvin, let's talk about this next game. So the Kings are on a 2-game winning streak now. They beat the best team in the Western Conference in the Denver Nuggets on Wednesday. They beat the 10th best team in the Western Conference, the Utah Jazz, tonight. They're on a 2-game winning streak now, and they are headed to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies on Sunday. Calvin, Memphis is ESPN's favorite for this game, which obviously, right, we would expect that. As far as the injury report, nobody for the Sacramento Kings. Coach Brown is back. We'll see what happens with Trey Lyles. We'll see if Davion is okay with the ankle injury. Sabonis seems fine. Fox seems fine. And the rest of the starters seem to be doing okay. So, Calvin, what's your first thoughts on this upcoming game?
This is a big one for Sacramento. Memphis has really owned the Kings as of late. And they're a matchup nightmare for Sacramento, for a team that lacks rim protection, is vulnerable on the offensive glass. You're going up against the best rebounding team in the NBA over the last 2 seasons, a team that is just relentless getting downhill, attacking the basket. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is, probably the biggest matchup problem for the Kings on this whole team. I mean, we'll see if Desmond Bane plays. He's a guy that definitely takes the Grizzlies to another level too, but Memphis is a tough, grinded-out team that plays both ends of the ball. They play fast. There's really not an area that's easy to attack this team, so this is going to be a critical one for Sacramento. These are the types of games, the types of teams that you want to see the Kings try to gain ground on to know that they're going to be able to potentially compete in the playoffs. This is one of those teams.
Yeah, so the Kings did lose to them on October 27th, 125-110. However, the Kings were able to get some redemption on last month, November 22nd, beating the Memphis Grizzlies 113-109. I believe that was the game that Ja Morant returned, so he was available for that game. But yeah, big game for the Kings. And it's a weird one. Like I said, when you're traveling, when you're dealing with any holiday and playing the next day, there could be some funky stuff going around. We don't know who's going to be healthy, who's going to be 100%, but the Kings definitely need to focus. They need to play hard, and they need to win this game. Calvin, I want to hear your keys to the game.
Rebound, rebound, rebound. If I could make every key that, it would be it. This team is such a good rebounding team on both sides. You have to be committed to the glass, all 5 guys. And then they've got to open up the floor a little bit. Memphis is a hard team to score inside on. The Kings need to be able to balance that out by knocking down some threes. Luckily, they've got 2 guys that are starting to trend upwards in that area, and that's Huerter and Monk. So if you can get some good outside shooting going, that's going to be very, very helpful, and definitely you want to try to outscore this team. For a team in Sacramento that's not great defensively, you definitely don't want this game to be a slow half-court, every possession matters type of game. You're going to want to get some easy buckets. Transition threes are a great way to open up the floor a little bit. And then turnovers. A team like Memphis will capitalize way too much if you're careless with the ball and turn it over. Another team that can really do damage in transitions. So turnovers, rebounding, and open up the floor a little bit with some three-point shooting.
I could not agree more. Very, very important. You need to control the pace of this game. And, yeah, you're right. We can't let them slow us down and put us in half-court offense, half-court defense. That's when the Kings break down. They really need freedom. They need to be able to run, and we need to be able to use Fox what he's good at, and that's running the court, being quick in transition, and putting a lot of pressure on the defense, not letting them get set in the half court. So very, very important. Very, very, very important. Jesus says, I need an all-nighter live stream. Wow. Okay. We could maybe be open to an all-nighter live stream. I don't know about tonight, but maybe we could do one of these days. What do you think we should talk about, Calvin, in an all-nighter live stream? Because that's a lot of talking.
That is a lot of talking. We'll probably need a lot of help from the chat, topics, conversation starters, things like that, and plenty of beer. Plenty
of beer. Yeah, beer is the key. And, hey, if you guys join us on Twitter Spaces, we could go at least a couple hours hearing your guys' takes. Reading what you guys say is fun, but, if you want to participate in the conversation, you guys can always join us on Twitter Spaces. Lydia wants to talk about the bigs on the Magic. Again, Calvin, they're dealing with a lot right now. They're dealing with suspensions, getting guys healthy. They're not good right now. They're 13-24. Maybe they could get a Victor Wembanyama. But where are you at right now? I mean, we like Mo Bamba. We've talked about Mo Bamba so much on this channel. Do you think it's getting any more likely that the Kings can make a move here for Mo Bamba?
That's hard to answer. I think that the Kings are exploring, all options that they feel are worth going after, right? And in my mind, Mo Bamba is one of those options that's worth going after. But I think Monty's going to be very careful in terms of what he has to give up right now. He seems to be pretty good, learning from guys like Daryl Morey at trying to make a move that improves the team and also doesn't cost you too much in the long run. And I think that that's over amplified too, being in a small market, knowing that you're kind of in a unique position going into this summer with a lot of cap space, draft picks. You got it all right now, and an up and coming team that's young and has a lot of good pieces. So you don't want to get too carried away and try to strike gold too fast. It's a slow build. Building a winning team doesn't happen overnight unless you end up winning the LeBron James sweepstakes or something like that. So I know that Monty's got that in the back of his head. I think another guy, I mentioned him to you earlier today when we were watching the game, somebody that maybe we need to focus a little bit more on as a potential backup center candidate is Naz Reid. I talked about him on our other channel, Basketball at the Bar, during the preseason. He was balling out. I think he's really improved his game a lot. He's never played more than 19 minutes a game in his career. If you look at his per 36-minute numbers, they're really good. Over 2 blocks a game, over a steal a game, 10-plus rebounds. The guy has improved himself a lot. He's still young. He's on the final year of a very cheap contract right now. I think there's some potential there for him playing the backup center role. He's also become a much better three-point shooter, which would really help in terms of how the Kings like to play offensively.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we'll see what happens here, guys. Things are starting to heat up. We're reaching January. This is the last stream of the year, so thank you guys so much for joining in. Hopefully you guys are all safe on Saturday. We'll catch you guys on Sunday after the Memphis Grizzlies game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to smash up that like button, hit that subscribe button. Calvin, any last words for the Kings fans out there?
Happy New Year, all you Beam worshipers. Be safe tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves. And let's make it to next year. It's going to be a fun one for the Kings and for all of us, right?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you all. Light the beam, guys. Light the beam. And, yeah, like PK says, if we win on Sunday, hey, if we lose on Sunday, I'm going to go crazy either way. I'm so happy with this Kings team. Dude, I might rewatch the game tonight. I had so much fun. But shout out to Young Zell for putting out that hot single, Light the Beam. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful evening and a safe new year. We'll see you all in 2023. In the meantime, go Kings.
Go Blue. Wolverines winning tomorrow.